Hope you enjoy this content. So we're getting right into it. Mr. Bernard Hopkins, he said that Devin the Dream Haney, when compared to Tank's resume, Tank has the superior resume between himself and Devin Haney. He said this in an interview with Sean Zattel of Fight Hype. And shout out to Dante's Boxing Nation for pointing out that, Bernard Hopkins seemed to not be making sense. He was saying, because Sean Zattel asked who did Hopkins think was the better fighter between Gervonta Tank Davis and Devin Haney. Because Bernard Hopkins was talking about box office and, pay-per-view and stuff like that. So Sean Zattel just wanted to know straight up what Hopkins thought. And Hopkins started talking about resume, and he said, that he thinks Gervonta Davis has the better resume between the two, Devin Haney and Gervonta Davis. And he goes on to say, if you look at the last 10 opponents of Tank versus the last 10 opponents of Devin Haney, Gervonta has the better resume. Gervonta Davis is no longer called Gervonta Davis. He's known as Abdul Wahid. So Abdul Wahid, formerly known as Gervonta Tank Davis, his resume looks like this. So the last 10 opponents that Abdul Wahid, aka Gervonta Davis, formerly known as Gervonta Davis, had faced are the following. The last opponent Gervonta Davis faced was Ryan Garcia. Ryan Garcia was not a world champion. He was considered one of the top welterweights in the welterweight division, but he was considered a champion. And Ryan Garcia was a very popular fighter. They did a great pay-per-view last year. One of the top pay-per-views of last year. In fact, if not the top pay-per-view of last year. And so, kudos to Tank on that. But out of all of the lightweights in the lightweight division at the time, Ryan Garcia was not seen as the best lightweight in the lightweight division. In fact, Tank has not faced, he's yet to face one of the best lightweights in the lightweight division, whether ranked that way or considered that way. He also faced his number 2 most recent opponent, Hector Garcia. Now, Hector Garcia was a world champion, but at super featherweight, which is a weight class below Tank's weight class. And Hector Garcia recently became a world champion and defended his world championship. Also known for beating Showtime, also known as Little B Hop. Tank also faced Rolando Romero. Rolando Romero, or Rolly Romero, at the time was a lightweight contender with the interim WBA championship, which he challenged Tank on, Tank being the WBA champion. And Tank, at least at the time, Tank was considered, KP from Casey, I don't give a dang about resumes. Fight or shut up. That's where I'm at with boxing now. All right, my brother. I hear you on that. Don't forget you can like the video as well as you can subscribe and donate via PayPal if you so wish. But let me make this point. I'm going to show you guys something. So I'm showing you the resumes. So Tank, anyway, he faced Rolando Romero, okay, who is now currently one of the champions at super lightweight, right? He is the super lightweight WBA champion. Kudos to Raleigh. Raleigh's done very well. But at the time when Raleigh faced Tank, Raleigh was not a top 5 lightweight in the lightweight division. Nowhere near a top 5 lightweight. KP from Casey says they want to string the fans along for years before giving us the fights we want to pay for now. I hear you, brother. I hear you. But I want to show you guys something because, Bernard, Dante Boxing Nation didn't correct. He wasn't on point with this point. Bernard claims the Tank had the better resume. That's what Bernard claims. Let's see if that's true. So we're putting it to the test. So he faced Rolando Romero. That's number 3, right? Third most recent opponent. Rolando Romero was not a top 5 lightweight. He wasn't even a top 10 lightweight. Okay? Then he faced Isaac Cruz. Now, let's just say something, though. Rolando Romero has done well since he faced Tank. Ryan Garcia is onto his winning ways. Hector Garcia, I believe he's supposed to have an upcoming fight. I think he defended his 130-pound title, or did he? I don't know. Let me have a look real quick here. Nope. He lost to Lamont Roach Jr. by split decision, and so he lost his title after facing Tank. But he's a solid fighter, don't get it wrong. Okay? Lamont Roach is known as a good fighter himself. Okay, so Hector Garcia lost his title after losing to Tank, and then he lost to Lamont Roach. Fine. But Rolly Romero's champion. Some people say controversially. I don't think it was controversial. I think the guy he beat, which is Ismael Barroso, I think, that guy hits like a mule. But what we know about him is he does tire out later on in the fights, I guess because of his age or whatever. And I think Rolly fought him the right fight. And he turned on the gas. He turned on the juice at the right time. Yes, it was prematurely stopped. But I think it was a matter of time before Rolly got him out of there. But don't get it twisted. Ismael Barroso can punch, and he's a smart fighter. He sometimes overwhelms guys with activity, but he can also box on the back foot, as we saw against O'Hara Davies, who was a good fighter himself. So anyway, Isaac Cruz. Now, Isaac Cruz is really making a name for himself, and now he is a top 10 lightweight in the lightweight division. But when he faced Tank, he wasn't top 10 lightweight in the lightweight division. He was top 15. He was in the rankings. He was top 10 in some of the rankings, I think the WBA. But he wasn't a top 10 lightweight. And he really put on a great performance against Tank. But again, this is not a top 10 lightweight. Mario Barrios was the 5th opponent Tank had. And again, solid fighter, right? Solid fighter, not a top 5 super lightweight, even though he had the regular title, but Josh Taylor had the super championship for the WBA. Again, WBA we're talking about here. Solid fighter Mario Barrios right now is, got a regular title again at welterweight, okay? Put on a hell of a performance against Keith Thurman, and then he put on a hell of a performance against Dennis Ugas, and right now he beat Dennis Ugas. So, again, credit given to Mario Barrios, but he wasn't a top super lightweight. Top 10, top 5. He's top 10, but he wasn't top 5. Very important points. Not to say that Tank didn't do tremendously, going up a weight class and facing this type of opponent in that division, but still at the same time, not the top guy. Okay, that's number 5. Number 6, Leo Santa Cruz at super featherweight. Fought him at super featherweight. Very good fighter. In fact, a Hall of Famer for sure. Had some very exciting fights. Tank stopped him. But here's the thing. Leo Santa Cruz is not a super featherweight. Okay? He moved up to super featherweight. In the second fight at super featherweight, he fought Tank, who's coming down from lightweight. The Tank's the bigger, stronger guy. And showed that in the fight. Okay? But that's a very good win. Because Leo was going to be a 5-time divisional champion. He was a 4-time divisional champion. That would have been, if he had beaten Tank, he would have gotten the lightweight title. He would have been a 5-divisional world champion. And Leo Santa Cruz is definitely going into the Boxing Hall of Fame. Okay. Number 6, Yuriorkis Gamboa. We're going to leave out Yuriorkis Gamboa. He was a former world champion and everything, but, he was a bit faded. Ricardo Nunes, who? That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That's number 8. Number 9, Hugo Ruiz, who And number 10, Jesus Cuellar, who was a former world champion, had beaten, the guy that was on the verge of breaking Mayweather's record. I think he was 48-0 before he lost to Jesus Cuellar. So it is what it is. All right. That's Tank's top 10. Now let's look at Devin Haney's top 10. Not one of those guys, by the way, was number one at anything in their division. Okay? Just a fact. Regis Prograis. That's Devin Haney's fight, moving up to 140. Regis Prograis was the number one super lightweight in the super lightweight division. Period. Before that, he fought Vasily Lomachenko. Vasily Lomachenko is a future Hall of Famer. At the time, Vasily Lomachenko wasn't the number one lightweight in the division anymore because Teofimo Lopez had beaten him. But he was but 2 fights before, or 3 fights before, the number one lightweight in the division. He also faced George Kambosos twice. George Kambosos was the number one lightweight in the lightweight division after beating Teofimo Lopez. He fought Joseph Diaz. Joseph Jojo Diaz was a former world champion. And, solid fighter all around. Came up from super featherweight, but had a couple fights at lightweight and dominated. And then he faced Devin Haney. Devin Haney also faced Jorge Linares. That is his number 6. Number 7 is Yorkis Gamboa. And then number 8, number 9, and number 10 are nobodies. Now, Tank faced competition where there were a certain ilk. Devin Haney, when he became world champion, was fighting, lower tier guys for a minute. But from the point of Jorge Linares onwards, which is 6 guys. Jorge Linares, by the way, for the record, though he was a bit on the downswing. Jorge Linares was a former number 1 lightweight in the world. Okay, so that's also very important to remember. But he beat Jorge Linares, Jojo Diaz, George Kambosos, Vasily Lomachenko, and Regis Prograis. All of those guys were number 1, except Jojo Diaz, were number 1 lightweights in the lightweight division. Kambosos and Vasily Lomachenko. Kambosos was the present number 1 lightweight. Vasily Lomachenko, Jorge Linares were former, and Regis Prograis was the present super lightweight world champion. Okay, nothing on Tank's resume comes even close to any of this. Nothing. And Tank had an opportunity to face Vasily Lomachenko, and he turned it down. And then he was calling out Regis Prograis, but he never fought him. Okay? These are the guys Devin Haney fought. Now, when they say, when Bernard Hopkins says things like, Tank's resume is better than Devin Haney's, what is he talking about? Not in terms of the level of competition Devin Haney has faced, especially recently. Tank has never faced nobody with the qualifications or with the skill set or with the level, at which Devin Haney has faced so far. So Bernard Hopkins is lying and he's wrong. And that's how you debunk that. Now, let's talk about some upcoming fights. We have Tyson Fury versus Alexander Usyk. I got Usyk. We got Artur Beterbiev versus Dimitri Bivol. We got Bivol. You're looking at the past fights with Barroso. He showed that he's class and he's gotten himself back in position for a world title shot. I don't know if he'll get a world title shot. I was saying in the mall that Teofimo Lopez was making the argument that Ryan Garcia, grabbing the WBA strap from Rolly Romero and then going to face Devin Haney may be a better move than just going and facing Devin Haney and losing, which makes sense as, he was trying to argue. Now, Teo indirectly said, basically, he was saying that if Ryan was to go and face Devin Haney, he would lose because he was saying, talking about losing and losing. You don't want to be on a losing streak and stuff like that. So I was hearing all of that, and I was like, oh, okay, this is what Teofimo Lopez thinks. But ultimately, at the end of the day, Ryan Garcia has not won a world title at all. So, if I was advising Ryan Garcia, I would say, no, don't face Devin Haney next. Face Rolly Romero next. It's a big fight. It's somebody, you could possibly beat at the stage that you are right now. Go ahead and do that. Because Devin's on a whole other level. So you need to at least bring something to the table where it makes the fight even more exciting and breaks in even more money. So on that point, I think Tio had a point. And a lot of people are saying it was Floyd's influence in Ryan's career, making him duck Devin Haney. Not necessarily ducking him. Ryan should say, I want to face Rolly Romero, and then after that, I want to face Devin Haney, but I want to face him as a champion. That's all he had to say. But he shouldn't lead on Devin. He should, So I don't know if Oscar's on board with that, like I said before, but we'll see. If Oscar's going to try and push the Devin Haney fight. They're both on the zone, so that fight makes all the sense in the world to happen because the both fighters are on, can be with the zone. But if not, and he's trying to get the Rolly Romero fight, which Floyd might offer him, that's a big fight. I'm not going to lie. That's a big fight, and whoever wins that fight, gets to, makes some good money. That's a big fight. So if I was Ryan, I'd try to make that paycheck, plus improve myself as I'm going along, so that when I face Devin Haney, I don't just flat out get blown out, which could happen. So I'm not really against Ryan. The only thing that's very distasteful is he didn't address it. He didn't talk to Devin. He didn't say to Devin, well, listen, Devin, I want to first get myself ready by facing Romero. So, I want to put this on the back burner for a second and face Romero. He didn't do that. Right? He ordered his team to face Devin Haney. Then he changes his mind, and he's ordering his team to do something else, and his team doesn't even know what's going on. Oscar De La Hoya doesn't even know what's going on. You know what I mean? That's what I got for you guys. I am what you need. If you guys have any other questions for me, or you have any videos you want me to share with you guys or bring up, let me know, because I'll be doing some editing soon. But until then, I'm going to catch you guys later. What you need. Peace. And don't forget to get notified by PayPal.